Princia Funnybunny. Like Zenon, she was the key factor in defeating the Diamond Kingdom in war, to the point where her own allies let her family die so that she wouldn't get distracted in battle. Despite her name being, well, Funnybunny, there is nothing funny about her, as she's just straight business. Despite being from a fallen noble family, her broken magic allowed her to become the Wizard King at the age of 22. That is the youngest anyone has ever become a Wizard King, as far as we are aware. And she has definitely earned the title with her merits, given her broken abilities. Her Legion Magic. Legion Magic allows the user to create and manipulate giant chess soldiers. The sheer quantity of them is what makes her magic so incredible, as she becomes a stand-in for a one-man army, equaling the power of 1,000 soldiers, which cause people to fear her strength, which by the way is 10 times the strength of an average Magic Knight captain, as they are said to be equal to 100. In fact, with the power of the Imperial Sword boosting her, she took over the entire kingdom within a mere hour. Her soldiers were roaming around telling all civilians to give their mana for their righteous plan. Her magic is specialized for war, as she can create her own magical army that won't tire and won't falter. Funnybunny's magic is very simple in concept, but that's actually one of the reasons it's so strong. The limits of what she can do with it is what makes it so broken. She's able to easily summon a never-ending amount of soldiers with her endless domination spell. Conrad literally mentions it's in the tens of thousands. However, despite the movie making the soldiers look not particularly strong, throw enough of them at an opponent and it will overwhelm them, as we saw with what happened to Charlotte, Jack and William. And on the other hand, Asta and the gang are all part of the generation of Wizard Kings, like Julius mentioned at the end of the movie, meaning the average Joe would find trouble even against one of them. I'm looking at you, Seke. Haha! This is why Funnybunny's magic alone caused a stalemate between the Clover and Diamond Kingdom when she was alive. Conrad explicitly states her soldiers are equal to the military power of an entire country. Princia Funnybunny isn't an undefeated warrior for nothing. To be Wizard King, your power cannot simply be niche. Princia is able to cover all her bases with her magic, from strategic large-scale wars to even close-quarter combat, which she demonstrated in her fight against Siscolion. Princia's spell, Blink Castling, allows her to switch places with one of her chess soldiers, giving her instant teleportation in close-quarter combat. It's even possible that it could work as a means of long-distance travel, kind of functioning like Yuno's conjunction with star magic, scaling her speed incredibly high. This is demonstrated when she is able to keep Siscolion off her heels. Mind you, this was something even a light magic user named Raya had a very hard time doing. This Siscolion is a stronger version compared to that time, as she was trained in the volcanic magic region. During the events of this movie, Siscolion was even able to use Hellfire Incarnate, which means she's grown stronger in power the more she uses it. Despite Siscolion's insane innate speed with her mastery over Mana Zone, Princia Funnybunny was still keeping up with her in a Mana Zone fistfight. In fact, Funnybunny's defense is no joke. She tanked a nuclear explosion to the face, which, just to paint this into perspective, Siscolion uses Hellfire Incarnate to defeat one of the ancient royal demons during the Spadar. This is a feat that puts her among legends like the first Wizard King and way above Julius, who couldn't even defeat one. We all know Siscolion is up there and is considered for Wizard Queen. It is only after this fistfight that Funnybunny decides to go all out, shocked that Siscolion was able to force her to use her fists, which the novel states she's a martial artist and an expert at it. She uses one hand and matches Siscolion's strength. The same woman who earlier in the movie could hold the Black Bull base with one hand, can break swords with a single punch, and could even kill a demon god with her fists. Despite this being an ever-escalating fight fight with Siscolion getting stronger and stronger. There was no clear winner by the end. So given Funnybunny's feats and the fact that she is this much of a combat specialist despite her magic being more strategic in nature, it's impressive. She tanked Monozone on purpose, leg drops by Siscolion, and even being dragged down hundreds of feet under earth as if it was nothing. Going on to state she can still fight by the end. She proves she can blitz Siscolion and react to all her moves, making her automatically multiple times faster than light. Yami and Raya didn't even do that against Siscolion when they faced her. In fact, Funnybunny matches everything about her in the thousands of exchanges and punches, which would automatically cook 99% of other Magic Knights if they were caught in it, which is why everyone is afraid to fight Siscolion when she's in this state. Even Yami skipped out on it in the anime. Now we can argue that Jester has the better defense feat than Princia Funnybunny, but overall if we look at the other stats such as her magic, her speed and everything else, she outranks him in other categories. However, she still barely ranks under Lumiere in terms of power, who is next on our list.
Which brings us on to the OG. Despite 500 years passing since his prime, he is still an extremely powerful mage. For example, he's the only Wizard King that we know of at least to have been blessed with a 4-leaf grimoire, giving him good luck over all the rest. Luckily for him, however, he doesn't have to rely on his good luck to get the dub in battle. That's because he also has one of the rarest magic types in the entire Clover Kingdom, light magic. This gives the user the ability to generate and manipulate light to his own desires. This, of course, makes him light speed by default. We saw in just his weakened stone form he was too fast for Zagred, as he couldn't even say any words before Lumiere attacked. And yes, I said weakened. Please remember that when Lumiere came back, he stated he was only partially returned, not 100%. But Finral reacted in a manner that suggested that his magic power was already above Julius and the elves. Furthermore, after escaping Zagred's trap on the day of the elf massacre in his prime, he travelled the distance of the entire Clover Kingdom instantaneously, as he went from the castle in the noble realm all the way to the outskirts of Hage Village. In fact, Lumiere's light magic can even outspeed Julius's own time magic with ease. We know this because in chapter 36, Julius stated that Patri's light magic was faster than his own. However, Dark Elf Patri said that Lumiere, who was only in his weakened stone form at the time, was on a whole different level compared to him, suggesting that Lumiere would have far outsped Julius in his peak, especially when you consider that even when looking ahead in time, Julius still couldn't hit Patri. With Lumiere being one of the very few capable of damaging Zagred in his magic, Lumiere is also by default Arcane Stage, and likely could have defeated the devil had it not been for Asta accidentally rendering him useless due to his anti-magic. But regardless of that, he was still instrumental in the war against Zagred, as when his light magic was partnered with Licht, he helped keep every single magic knight alive. Asta himself even admitted that had it not been for Lumiere, they'd have never even won the war. The only time we were lucky enough to have witnessed Lumiere in his prime was against the ancient demon that Licht had become. Now, this may not seem like an insane feat considering we've seen Siscolion defeat one and she overpowered Princia. However, you have to remember that the demon Lumiere faced was buffed by the magic stones, casting the highest level of forbidden magic. This is how it had the power to supposedly wipe out humanity. Keep in mind that these stones are magic items that amplify a person's magic power. The only race to have ever mastered their use to the max was the elf tribe stated in chapter 101. This means the demon descending from the elf leader himself would be stronger than the one Mereoleona faced. Elves alone with their mana were assumed to be gods by humans at the time. Royals are the ones that stole their magic for a reason. A spade royal that created the demons Mereoleona faced wouldn't be as strong as Licht. However, despite being the most powerful, Lumiere's light magic was strong enough to create barriers that completely tanked the demon's attacks. And even when the demon did land one on Lumiere, he continued to fight no problem. And despite his small frame, Lumiere increased his physical power with light magic to the point where a single punch reduced the demon to its knees, shattering the ground below. Furthermore, he went on to trap it by using a spell that summons giant swords of light from the sky that can conceal an opponent. This completely restricted the demon's movement, which meant Lumiere could then finish the job. And now if you really want to nitpick this feat and say, ooh, Oh, but ABD, Lumiere only won thanks to the magic tool that absorbed the attack. At least give the guy some credit, as after all, he was the one that invented it, so at least it was his own intelligence that gave him the opening needed to kill Licht. I mean, heck, if it wasn't even for the brain power of Lumiere, none of the other Wizard Kings could have reached the power level we saw in the movie, as it was him that invented the Imperial Sword in the first place. And check out this video on your screen right now.